Herlevi, the Senior Business Advisor for Tekes' Energy and Environment Industries Group. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks. It's a pleasure being here.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the clean tech environment in Finland and what you guys are trying to do to help stimulate clean tech businesses in your country?
Sure, it's a very exciting area because there's a lot of activity in the wind, biomass, clean processes, energy efficiency side. Obviously, Finland has many multinational companies in biofuels, in the pulp and paper sector, and in heavy industries in general. So those have been the kind of traditional areas, but then we have hot companies in renewable energy and electric vehicle side as well.
Are you finding that a lot of the innovation that's happening in these spaces, are they really coming from the multinational groups, or is there a fairly strong small business entrepreneurial community that's chosen to tackle some of these problems?
There's definitely entrepreneurial culture outside of the multinationals as well. But I think there are also role models, still the multinationals as well, to show that you can do global businesses. But obviously, you know, from the entrepreneurial side, there are big challenges to take care of.
So when you guys get involved in projects, are you typically investing in the project itself, or are you investing in the company that's working on that type of problem solving?
So Tekes is from the governmental side doing the R&D investments for Finland. So we use grants and loans to invest in companies. So basically it's a project-based funding, which could be all the way from a couple of 100,000 to millions of euros, and the company has to provide the matching funding for the projects. And in many cases we come very early to the picture and share the risk of the R&D development with the company, and later on also with the private investors.
Is it a dollar for dollar match?
And it's pretty much that would be the equal, yeah.
So for electric vehicles in Finland and really in Europe, what types of obstacles are these companies, trying to overcome, and what are some of the innovative solutions that these groups are coming up with?
Well, that's an exciting area, and we have just formed this 80 million program for EV development in Finland, and definitely it's an early stage for EV, so it's hard to say how it will work out in Europe or in any place. And we are just trying to first fund these kind of demonstration pilots where we get to the roads a couple of hundred cars in Finland, and that is the starting point so that we can understand where are the business models, what are the opportunities, and what are the consumers really looking for. And I think Finland is a good place to start because there's long distances, it's a harsh winter, so the conditions are a little bit different than in some of the other countries.
Is the pilot only in a specific city, or is the test to really use a couple of different cities to see how these cars interact in the communities?
Well, it's still not decided how we actually will do it, but there are certainly different cities involved in this project, so we have to see, but it will happen this year for sure.
And the project includes electric vehicles as well as the infrastructure itself?
Sure. Yeah, it's not only about the cars itself, but definitely about the infrastructure and the services you could make out of the EV business itself.
When people think about Europe and clean tech, many times the first thought is renewable energy and the work that's being done. Talk to us a little bit about some of the innovation that's happening on the renewable energy side of things.
Well, yeah, I would say that obviously the wind energy sector has been interesting from our side. We have good companies in that area, Wind, Switch, to name some of the companies in those areas. And I think it always comes from the thing that the Finnish mentality, the engineering capabilities, and able to solve difficult problems and to try to find the kind of global scale for that. So I think it comes from there. And especially I think the wind energy side has been very good example of that kind of solutions we could provide. For example, Switch has been, it's already kind of multinational company, but not that big, but still the mentality what they have is amazing, and what they can do in wind energy business.
Give me some of your thoughts about how the entrepreneurial community is unique in Finland, comparing it to other vibrant entrepreneurial communities that you either might see in the United States or other parts of the world.
Yeah, I lived here in Silicon Valley for a couple of years, and I was this year in China for a couple of months, and there's a big differences, I think, in different continents. But what is actually something that is shared with these communities, that the driving force of finding solutions. And I think the engineers are similar everywhere. But the other thing is obviously how do you make money of that, and I think Silicon Valley is a great place from that perspective, that you have everything in place what you need to grow a startup to multinational company. And I think China is coming to that picture as well. They have a lot of entrepreneurial activity and stuff going over there, and I think when they get the place, the venture capital side of things, and they get more kind of global perspective, they will come to the picture as well. And I think the Europeans are kind of in the middle, that we have already realized a long time ago in clean tech sector that the nature is important, and you try to be carbon neutral, and the European activities what we have. So it's kind of a different kind of aspects, but still going to the same direction.
How much of an impact or assistance would you say that the government has in the growth of clean tech innovation in Finland?
It's a strong support, especially from the industrial policy perspective. So we as a Tekes, we invest in innovation. So the best offer from Tekes side for startup is 1 million euro, what we can deploy for startup, and it really compares to whatever the Silicon Valley startup needs in the early stage. So it's a very strong support, and the reason for that is actually that it's a small nation, 5 million people, so you need to go global day one. So it's not like there's an internal market that you could tackle. Obviously, it's important to have that as well as a kind of testing ground, but still, you need to go outside fast.
The relationship with the government could always be better, though. So what are some of the things that the clean tech entrepreneurial community are facing that might be a little frustrating in working with the government, that the community is trying to work towards to help get these projects out faster and more efficiently?
Yeah, I think it's in any place it's the same, that you have to have right policies, and in many cases, like in EVs, for example, that it's not sure how it will play out, and obviously when you have the entrepreneurial mentality, you want to go straight away and do things, but the policies sometimes are lagging behind, and try to solve the things in the more bigger context in the economy.
You had mentioned a little bit earlier that you will work with universities in some instances on certain types of projects. Can you elaborate on a couple of either projects that you can share with us, or what does that relationship really look like?
So basically, how we operate with the universities is pretty unique in European scale as well. We kind of, when we are funding applied sciences in universities, we invite the companies to join the project. So they're actually doing the project together, so that there's also the industry need involved. So it's not like pure academics all the time, but it's also that you have to work together to see what the industry needs as well, and try to find new breakthrough solutions through that. It's hard to name maybe just single projects, but I would say that in any sector, well, obviously Finland is well known for IT and all the kind of history of the policies and the research related to that. And that's, I think, one great example how you, as a small nation, could work together to get the industry in place.
Sure. And when you take a look at all the different projects that Tekes has their hands in, whether it's working with universities or providing grants or capital to the startup community, when you add all of that up, how much of a financial commitment is Tekes really putting into the clean tech sector?
So in clean tech sector, we put yearly roughly 200 million euro investment. So if you think about like 5-year time, it's like a very big investment if you compare to any private sector VCs, for example. So it's a sizable amount of money we are investing in that area.
Kari, tell me a little bit about why the clean tech industry interests you and why you've chosen to work in the space.
Well, it's fantastic because you are not just putting another product in market. It's more about doing something good as well. But then you still have the business application behind it. So it's a kind of combination of doing something for the nature, but still from the business perspective. And hey, you know, the EV sector, for example, who wouldn't love to have new cars coming in, for example, from the electric side and the hybrid. So it's fascinating area. I couldn't think about any more interesting area than clean tech.
Is there anything else that you want to share with us today?
Well, I think we are now here in San Francisco and in Silicon Valley, so I'm just glad that we had the possibility to come here and showcase some of the companies today, and it has been a very good event. And I think in the future, when we are working, let's say, with Chinese and the American companies, I'm sure that there will be possibilities to find new partnership with the, you know, obviously with the companies, but also with the VCs across the, you know, the ocean. So we can really find new deal flow also to do something together.
Kari, thanks so much for being with us today.
Okay.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure.